Hello. How is everyone doing? Welcome back to another video. So I wanted to talk about this because one, I haven't talked about it at all since, I don't know, since we first heard about it. And also because this is something that gets brought up all the time by like one person in like every Barney Facebook group that I'm in, and it's really annoying, and I just want to talk about it just to get it out of the way. So we all know that Daniel Kaluuya is working with Mattel to make a live action Barney film. We've known this since 2019, and since 2019 we've seen nothing from it. We've heard really nothing from it. Recently he did an interview where he was asked about the Barney film, and he gave an update saying that they are still working on it. Now, there's a lot of things about this that are very strange that I wanted to talk about, and I don't want to talk too long about this because it's like very whatever, but I wanted to take things back to a statement from Mattel back in 2019. Hey Barney, can you be right here? You can't even see him. So back in 2019, Mattel Films said, and I quote, "Working with Daniel Kaluuya will enable us to take a completely new approach to Barney that will surprise audiences and subvert expectations. The project will speak to the nostalgia of the brand in a way that will resonate with adults while entertaining today's kids." Anyone can make a movie, right? Anyone can make great movies regardless of what you're known for, regardless of what you've done before in your portfolio and all this kind of stuff. It's still very odd to me that the person that they got to do this movie did like horror films before, which again, anyone can make a movie regardless of what you've done before. It's just very interesting to me that Daniel Kaluuya was the first person, but I don't know, maybe he can do a great job, maybe he can do something amazing, so I don't know. What's strange to me is that we haven't really seen much from Barney since he went off the air, which was what, like 2010 or something like that. It's been about like 12 years since we've seen anything come out. No new show, no new episodes, no new video content, like nothing. If anything, the only thing we've really seen are like plush dolls. Like they've been making like new plush dolls and stuff. Well, but I'm sorry, Mattel has not been making new plush dolls. They've been licensing out to other companies that have been making new plush dolls for Barney. But from Mattel, we haven't seen anything really at all video wise since they bought the franchise, and they want to come back with a movie. Now, when Barney had a movie the first time, it was a box office disaster. They made $12 million on a $15 million budget, and that was when Barney was still riding off of his peak. That was back in 1998, where people at least still knew of Barney and were watching Barney on TV. Barney's been off the air for 12 years now. You can say, oh, people still remember Barney. People still remember Barney, sure. With YouTube, they're still recycling the same clips over and over and over again. You can watch Barney on Tubi, but it's only the seasons like 7 through 14. There were 7 seasons before that. Not only that, but Barney had a whole bunch of home videos that were released on VHS through the 90s and the 2000s. So it's like there's a lot of Barney out there that still isn't being put out to the public, and we're still not getting new stuff, but they want to come back with a movie. I don't know what Mattel is doing. Maybe they have an idea of revitalizing the franchise. Using nostalgia is a good tactic because they haven't really done anything with nostalgia, right? Like they're licensing out Barney to different companies to make like Halloween costumes and inflatable costumes and plushes and whatever. That doesn't really hit to nostalgia at all. It's just putting Barney out there while they're not making anything. So if they want to play into nostalgia a little bit, I welcome that. They're not overdoing anything because they've never really done it. So I welcome them wanting to play into nostalgia to get people into seats, bring Barney back to the public. I'm fine with that, right? What bothers me a lot is the premise. Now, the premise itself sounds very childish. Not in the sense that it won't work, but it sounds like something that you would just come up with on the playground and people would laugh at without really thinking about what the premise is supposed to be. In the recent interview, they asked about the Barney movie, and Daniel said, "My last number of films have been so aligned to kind of what I stand for as a man, but there are a whole lot of things that I do as a man. I love kids films. How did everyone get into films? Watching kids films. I don't want to restrict myself to the limitations of what I'm perceived as." I like that statement. I like that statement a lot. He doesn't want to be just recognized as the guy that made Get Out, the guy that made Us. He wants to branch out a little bit and maybe make a kids film. Now, I don't know specifically if this means that the film he's envisioning for Barney will be a kids film. I'd imagine so, because Mattel signed off on it and they're co-working with him. So I'd imagine so. It's just the premise is weird. I don't know if it's just weird or if he just worded it strange. Barney taught us, I love you, you love me. Won't you say you love me too? That's one of the first songs I remember. And what happens when that isn't true? He said that's one of the first songs I remember. That's what everyone remembers, though. That's the flagship song. Of course you remember that song. That's like the only song that anyone ever points out when it comes to Barney, when Barney has had like a whole library full of iconic songs that people remember. He went on to say, I thought that was really heartbreaking. I have no idea why, but it feels like that makes sense. It feels like there's something unexpected that can be poignant but optimistic, especially at this time now. I think that's really, really needed. And like what he's saying there, here's where we run into some problems. We've known about this film and its announcement for 2 years, 2019 to 2020. Oh, I'm sorry, 3 years. It's been about 3 years now. We've known about this film and that it's existing in some form. They said that they're reworking the script. Recently, they said that they're reworking the script. The script has been in production for 3 years. And I think the worst thing about it, Barney's original creative team have, from what we know, no real involvement in the film at all. Barney's main head writer, Stephen White, bless his heart, he was working on the show from 1992 up through the 2000s. So he essentially wrote Barney. Like he, in my opinion, aside from, Cheryl Leach, Kathy Parker, Dennis DeShazer, no one knows Barney better than him because he wrote Barney. Stephen White contacted Mattel and wanted to give insight on Barney and the character and what it's all about and all that kind of stuff for the film. And apparently there's been like nothing, like there's been no contact, there's been like no feedback, there's been no response or anything. And that is really concerning to me. It bothers me a lot to think Barney's been off the air for 12 years. It's gotten to where he's sort of starting to fall into obscurity. And Mattel seems very content on allowing someone to come in, pitch a movie, start writing a script for a movie, co-sign and work with them, and it's someone that hasn't had a hand in any of the productions of Barney, any of the past years of Barney, and hasn't, from what it seems like, hasn't bothered to look up or research anything about the character of the franchise. He basically just brought up the very stereotypical things that people know about Barney and said, I want to make a movie, which is fine. Like I said earlier, anyone can make a movie. You can make a movie whenever you feel, if you can, right? Whatever. My thing is, I feel like a film has to say something. The premise and just the drive to make this film, from what I glean from everything that's been said, it feels like he's sort of just making a movie because he feels like it, as opposed to taking into consideration, the fans of the franchise, the what went into the franchise, what the character is about, what goes into what makes Barney, as well as just the target audience. Who is this specifically for? Because if it's for toddlers, they're not going to want to see this. They're not going to be, no toddler's going to be clamoring to see a movie like this, right? At the same time, I don't feel like a lot of adults would want to watch it either. I'd want to see it just because I'm a Barney fan. But Barney fans, we're a very niche group of individuals, right? It's a very small, specific group of people outside of ordinary people. What? If I told someone that there's going to be a new Barney movie where it's like, what if Barney doesn't love you? Would you want to go and see that? I don't know if that would really generate that much interest. And I say this because we don't really have anything to go off of, right? We don't have a script. We don't have casting. We don't have photos or anything. And it's hard to think of just who this movie could be for. And don't get me wrong, like I like the idea of wanting to put more emotion into a Barney film, and that's what I've always wanted. If I were to make a Barney film, it would not be specifically aimed at toddlers. It'd probably be for more like a general audience. But like that's where we run into a bit of a roadblock, right? Because Barney was specifically made for toddlers. Barney was made as this imaginary friend that you could always look upon, you could always look to for guidance, for and eventually, you know, like learning stuff and all that kind of stuff. But originally, Barney wasn't all that educational. If you look back at the Barney and the Backyard Gang tapes, which were the very first tapes in the entire franchise back from 1988 through 1991, they weren't educational, like really at all. They were mainly just they were just entertaining. Like they go on adventures, they'd go to the North Pole, they go to the beach, they go to this and that, they do magic. It was very much entertaining, and it was playing into the sense of imagination and creativity and wanting to explore with your mind and do great things by just pretending. That's what Barney was. At the same time, Barney was someone that wasn't real. Like I said, imagination, imaginary. And I do think that Kaluuya is taking that into consideration, at least a little bit. It's how you go about it that matters, though. And again, like I said, I would love to put more emotion into something like Barney, because I feel you can do it. I feel like you can do anything possible with any property possible, as long as the execution is spot on. I've always said that, like, I want to, and well, me and Kaylin, the Terrific Tributes, have been saying that, like, something like Christopher Robin would be so cool, right? Like, Barney is as real as your imagination. If you pretend he's not real, he disappears. And the idea of a film where you grow up and you maybe grow out of Barney, but then Barney is still there, you know, that kind of thing. Like, I would love something like that. I think that would be really, really nice. And it would be, I feel like that would play into nostalgia a lot too. Like, that would be so, so nice. It's really strange to me that this film has been talked about and worked on supposedly with Mattel for 3 years now, and the script is not even finished. Like, that is very, very strange, in the sense that it almost feels like it's not really much of a priority, which I don't imagine it is. At the same time, like I said, Barney's been gone for like 12 years, so I'd imagine it should be at least a little teeny bit of a priority. But I mean, they're working on the Barbie movie and stuff like that, so they've got their own other things that they're working on. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't want to talk about this movie anymore until we actually see something tangible, unless we see, you know, like photos or a set or the script's finished or something from Mattel saying that, like, the movie is moving. I don't really want to speak much about it because it's not really worth speaking about. Again, like, this is the first thing we've heard in 3 years, and the script's not even done. So it's like, okay, well, what is there to be excited for? I just hope that in the coming whatever months that Mattel decides to at least contact someone from Barney's production. Because the fact that they went off and wrote off on a film to someone that's not even like remotely close to the franchise and didn't bother to at least, because they've been playing and they've been saying that, you know, this could be good for nostalgia, right? You would think that with that in mind, you'd want to have someone that was on the show, working on the show, that's willingly coming to you and saying, hey, I remember the show. I was writing for the show. I was on the show, and I would love to help and at least give some information or some tidbits on what this character is, what the franchise is. I would love to come and help. You would think that they would at least be considerate enough to be like, sure, we'll listen to what you have to say, as opposed to shoving it off and working on a script for 3 years. I just hope I hope that Mattel considers having someone, again, from the production from the past 30 years being at least even the tiniest bit a part of this film in terms of how it is executed, because as it looks right now, it feels really soulless and insulting. It honestly feels like the film doesn't really have much of an integrity to it. And if that's the case, I don't really feel like supporting it. I just want the best for Barney. I feel like we all do. I feel like everyone watching this video wants the best for Barney, right? And if this film ends up getting made and it's like it's not even close to what the character stands for, then I am really concerned for this brand and what they're doing with it and who has their hands on the character. I was thinking about, and I'll wrap it up by saying this because this video's gone on for too long. I was thinking earlier at work about the whole, Daniel Kaluuya, Barney movie thing. And I was just imagining Cheryl Leach, the creator of Barney, sitting down in a theater to watch this movie and just thinking to myself, like, the movie that comes out, you have to imagine the creator, because she's still alive. You have to imagine the creator going to the movie, sitting down, watching it, and just picture what they would be thinking as they're watching that film. And I was just like, man, I hope that things look up for this film, because honestly, this film could judge how the brand moves afterwards. We still have the Barney documentary that's supposed to be coming out later this year in 2022, and that I don't think is going to bring people to the brand at all. It's going to make people remember the brand. It's not going to make people want to watch more Barney or to get Barney out for the kids again. It's just going to be really interesting. But I feel like the movie, if it comes to be, can very much judge how the brand is handled afterwards. So I really just hope that we get something tangible, and that things turn around and things look up, because I'm not really all that interested in the movie right now. But it is what it is. Anyways, that's it for this one. I have an unboxing that I'm doing in the next couple days, so if you want to stick around for that, I'd really appreciate it. It's going to be really cool. It's a blind unboxing. It's a bunch of Barney tapes that I got, and I don't know what's in it. I might know one, but I don't really know what's in. It's a bunch of them too, so please stick around for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was very sort of informative, I guess. And I will see you guys in the next one. Barney, can you say something? He didn't say anything. See you.
Thank you to Emilia, Cameron, Junior the Hedgehog, Common J, Megley, and Nerdy Disney for supporting the stage.